Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing. We have a special guest with us today. We'll announce in just a little bit, just to build suspense. It's Sarah Bartlett, our expert in Medicare Center. And what we'll be doing today is spending the next 50 to 60 minutes giving you an overview on Medicare Center and a practical application as to how it works for you. This is a valuable resource made available through our organization at no cost to the agents. You can tell I'm an old Medicare Advantage guy because I have a hard time with the word free, but it's free. The presentation is being recorded and it will be posted on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as well. And for those that have raised their hand with interest in today's presentation, they'll be sent a link to this recording as well. You'll notice in the software system, there's a section for both questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the questions section. We normally cover them through the course of the presentation, but at the end of Sarah's demonstration and at the end of the presentation, we'll check and make certain that we have everything covered so you get the full return on the investment of your time in today's presentation. With that said, let's start with a little bit of level set about who Premier Marketing is. For those of you that aren't as familiar with us, we are a national marketing organization founded in 1968 that's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We have offices across the country, licensed in all 50 states, as opposed to on. We act as an insurance service wholesaler working with independent insurance agents such as yourself, with contracts at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. We do so through a full portfolio of products. So we cover the basics in the Medicare world with Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement plans and the standalone Part D prescription drug programs, referred to as PDP programs by many. But we also have a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans. We offer long and short-term care products and disability income plans and ancillary benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, critical illness, cancer, hospital indemnity, accident, and telehealth. We tell you all this because they are an integral part of the reason for and are handled by our Medicare Center, as Sarah will demonstrate as soon as I get through a little bit more of this. The Medicare Advantage portfolio is one that includes the national carriers for your use and many of the strong regional carriers that can make a difference for you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the prescription drug plans, where in most cases, these are part of the contract through your MA carrier, a couple notable exceptions being the Mutual of Omaha piece, and then Clever RX, which is actually just a discount program, not a standalone PDP. When we look at the Medicare Supplement portfolio, it's large and robust. We have different systems in there that help you be successful in this space. We want you to have programs available across the spectrum of the Medicare beneficiary earning cycle, in a manner of speaking. So these are there for you as well. In each of these categories, including the area that highlights the national carriers in each of the ancillary product sub niche markets, these are all part and parcel of what can be done through Medicare Center. So you have a vast portfolio of products and a tool that can make you so efficient and bring so much value to you that it covers the entire portfolio of products. And that's important because, hey, you have near exponential growth in the Medicare market. When you talk about people that are aging in, we have to recognize that there's a portion of the population that aren't accessing all of their Medicare benefits when they're first eligible for one reason or another. Tail end of the baby boomers might be waiting for full benefit with Social Security, and that's pushed out for many of us. And of course, there are some that, hey, I just like to work. I'm going to continue to work. And some folks, well, hey, the pandemic has changed their outlook on things too. So you have a portion of folks that are eligible for Medicare, aren't taking full advantage, but that is counteracted by the 15% of the population that are under the age of 65 and accessing their Medicare benefits because of disability. In each of these categories, they have decisions. In the past, it's been a fairly even choice between Medicare Advantage and Med Sup programs. In the pandemic world, we're seeing more of an upthrust on the Medicare Advantage plans. But once again, the system covers all of the options that folks have because we need to address that. 2/3 of the Medicare population have 3+ chronic conditions, and they have some challenges with their income and assets as well. So having programs that can address the needs based on the preferences of the population we serve, and using a system that helps us be as efficient, effective, and compliant as possible can make a huge difference. One of the things that helps us make a difference, however, is translating all the acronyms that's out in the Medicare world. So part of the follow-up you'll receive from us when the video or this recording updates is a link to a guide furnished by Medicare Learning Network, a governmental website that gives you the here's what AEP, OEP, MOUSE means in our world, and that's very helpful. It also reminds me to speak of the fact that as we present to our prospects and clients, we need to minimize the use of acronyms in order to make certain that we're communicating properly. And that's important because folks have choices, and we want to have systems that can help people in each of the choices that they utilize. Because folks can actually decline the optional Part B coverage should they choose to do so. Thankfully, many do not. And for those that stick with just original traditional Medicare, they may self-insure for the medical shortfall in the medical coverages, pick up that standalone Part D program to help with some of the drug costs. Some may fill that vacuum with a Medicare supplement plan, one of the standardized, modernized programs that are out there, or some folks will bundle everything in the Part C, the Medicare Advantage plan. Once again, we need systems that will address each option that's available to them and make it as simple as possible for both the beneficiary and ourselves as agents relaying the information. It's important because, hey, Kaiser Foundation, Family Foundation tells us that the majority of people on Medicare do not review their coverages year over year as they should. And that's a great opportunity for us as agents. Excuse me, I had a frog jump there, because it gives us a whole bunch of folks that need our help. And we need to get them information then in a way that they can digest it and understand it and give us a track to follow in our discussions as well. Because the big point in a lot of these is, even though the benefits will change in the plans themselves when it comes to the medical or add-on benefits, it's the drug coverage that we really need to pay attention to. And you'll see why the Medicare Center can make such a huge difference for us in quoting what might be the best coverage for them this year, and give us an opportunity to do reviews down the road as well. Because, hey, folks aren't even using the government pieces that are out there. So that program needs to be able to help us, whatever program, to deliver information. So we can get the information to them on a virtual basis, speak to them in person, switch back and forth, as they used to say on the old comedy routine, Friends, pivot back and forth between the two delivery systems, and do so in a manner that the folks understand. One of the things we see is the generations that are on Medicare are becoming increasingly savvy to the use of electronics. The pandemic helped teach a whole bunch of people a whole bunch of ways of receiving information, which was incredibly important because, hey, it was done by our doctors, our specialists. Hospitals utilized it to help with some of the pre-admission stuff, dentists as well, and hey, even faith-based organizations to this day offer services online. So we have a population that is becoming much more comfortable in this delivery system, and the way that Medicare Center can make that data and that information available really simplifies the process as well. So finally, as part of our presentation today, we've asked our in-house expert to come on and visit with us about Medicare Center. A few things ahead of time. It's important for us to note that this is a tool that has multi-functions for us, all with a singular login. So looking at Medicare Center, it's built to help us as agents. As licensed professionals, we need to make certain that a tool is reliable and can deliver upon what it promises and what we promise through the use of that system. So having an all-in-one universal login gives us access to multiple tools within the system, including a CRM where we can manage our clients if they are our clients or still our prospects. So keep in mind, this is the piece that will have the drug information within it and gives us the opportunity to do year-over-year reviews with our clients. And if we've maintained that do not call requirement to keep them within our outreach, we can do annual reviews on the folks that didn't do business with us last year. So we have a built-in prospect base as well, year over year and throughout the year, so we can stay in front of them and perhaps cross-sell as well. This is an area that Sarah is going to talk about a wee bit in just a moment, but our learning center within the system has a ton of resources in there for your use that can really help you outside of just the techie stuff. It gives you the sales tips. It helps you work with that technical system. It enables you to work remotely. You've got guides in there from the various carriers, solutions for the programs that we have, both on a short and long-term basis. And one of the pieces that's in there is Medicare App. So you have 3 different systems within this that give you an opportunity to shop, quote, and enroll electronically from any device. A whole bunch of carriers are part of it, and it gives us that opportunity to estimate cost through a guided system. And it allows us to collect signatures electronically as well to make it as simple as possible. Because the first step in the Medicare Advantage and PDP world is to make certain that we cover ourselves on a compliance basis. And that means we need a tool that will help us procure that scope of appointment, enable people to acknowledge it in multiple fashions, and then store it for that 10-year period, whether we sell them or not. We're creating our own sales funnel here. It also allows us to import some of the medication information from Medicare.gov, so folks don't have to give you an entire list as long as they give you permission to access some of their data off of Medicare.gov through the accounts that they set up there. Medicare Link is the second of the systems. It too does much of the same as what we talked about with Medicare App, but some folks will prefer one system or another because simply, hey, that's what I'm comfortable with. It gives us then that option, and there are some differentiating factors between the two. Both of them are set up so they're easy to use, easy to work with, but then also allow us to look at the other portion of the Medicare population that may prefer or find that a Medicare supplement is a better choice for them. This quoting engine powered by CSG allows us to do a lot of what we talk about in the Medicare Advantage and PDP world with the first couple of engines. This gives you also additional information on Medicare supplement pricing and quoting. So it helps us determine what we need in our portfolio. Electronic apps comes as part of this as well. A whole bunch of neat tools within this portion of Medicare Center that can help you cross-sell, a whole number of things that come into play. So finally, what I'm going to do at this particular point in time, and Sarah, I warned you, I do talk too much, but I'm going to turn control over to Ms. Sarah Bartlett so she can give us information and walk us through a practical application of Medicare Center itself. So as they say on Star Trek, Sarah, you have the helm.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Bartlett. I am an Agent Success Manager here at Premier Senior Marketing, and I'm excited to be here today to show everyone a little bit of what Medicare Center looks like and how it works as each one of these systems operate. It is going to be good to play around with the system and get a feel for which one you do have preference for. I will start by the website. To get to Medicare Center is simply www.medicarecenter.com. If you have never been to this site before, it's a really simple process to register. You would just click register, and you're going to use your national producer number to set this up. The driving factor for agents' ability to be able to use Medicare Center is going to be from the carrier data on their ready to sell. So carriers that are on this website are sending us Excel files on a regular basis with agents that are ready to sell, have completed the contract and the required certification. If you have not done so and you try to use this system, you're not going to be able to do the enrollments or quote easily. But once you do become ready to sell, you can come here, register yourself, and get into the system. So we'll move forward and assume that an account has been created. And I will get logged in here. This main screen here is really the landing page that's going to be able to send you to all the different platforms that you need on one login. So it is really convenient. You don't have to worry about separate websites, carrier websites, things like that, and it gives you one place that you can go for multi-carrier quoting. The Medicare App right here is a system that is focusing on Medicare Advantage and prescription drug sales. Same with Medicare Link. It is Medicare Advantage and prescription drug sales. These two systems, at the end of the day, do the exact same thing. It is going to be completely up to user preference on which interface and system that they prefer. So you are going to want to, at some point, pick one or the other that you prefer to load your client data in and do your enrollments, because they don't speak to each other, and it might get confusing if you do one in some system and one in the other on where to find the application PDFs, the scope of appointment PDFs, things such as that. CSG, as John had showed earlier on another screen, is where you're going to be able to do a lot of the Medicare supplement quoting, the filling the gaps with a dental product, a hospital indemnity product, and CSG also added where you can do some Medicare Advantage and prescription drug quoting as well. But mainly CSG has been used for the Medicare supplement and filling the gaps, and the Medicare App and Medicare Link are the Medicare Advantage and standalone drug plans. There is this fourth option down here at the bottom where it's a new way to enroll clients, and this is where you're going to get into the CRM system. And something that was added right before this last AEP that was a huge enhancement is the CRM system also has the functionality for enrollments. So they had taken the group who does the Medicare App software. They have partnered with them to do our integrated quoting and enrollment system through the CRM. Before we get into these systems, I do want to show you guys where you can get to the Learning Center. So you can keep scrolling down and you can get into those sales tips, all the tech guides. So I'll just click into them to show you. There is so much information here on if you just kind of want to get an idea on, you know, how maybe to speak over the phone when we're calling on Medicare supplements and things such as that. Here are the tech guides for training videos on Medicare Center, all the technical guides you can download in a PDF, FAQs. This working remote, we've got GTL on here, CSO, Humana, just some carrier guides if you wanted to use their online enrollment systems as well. Here are the carrier guides. Looks like we've got quite a few first looks, just whatever carriers provide us to put in here, we get in. Health solutions. So you guys can take time to go through that, but I do wanted to highlight it only for the fact that after this video, if you still have questions, you can call in to us and we can definitely help, but you also have some tools at your disposal as well. Each system has their own technical guides inside them as well, and I'll show you how to access those once we get in there. So I'll start with Medicare App, the very first one. And I'll show you kind of the different directions you can go because there's quite a few. You can start by, if you have a client profile that you already want to start to complete, you want to put in their medications and things such as that, you would go right up here to New Profile on the top right. So I want to show you how you can create a new profile within this system. So the three items that are necessary to create the profile for it to save is zip code, first name, and last name. So I will just put some information in here quick. And the other data here, the address, email address, phone number, date of birth, all of this information, if you do put it in, flows over to the application portion. So right before AEP, if you have a lot of client data you need to input, this is going to be really helpful. Because when you actually get to meet with them and you run the quote, then you get to the application, this information will all flow over as well. This information on the bottom is not going to flow over to the application, but for your records, if you ever need to go back to it, you can at least go back and collect, if you put in their Medicare ID, Part A and B effective dates. This open area, you can put anything there. These are really just notes for you. So I will save this information, and next I will show you how you can access the scope of appointment through here. Once the profile has been completed, you just keep scrolling down, and you can either add a preference, which is going to be your medications, your providers, if they have low-income subsidy, and I'll show you that in a bit. But the continue to scope of appointment is right there. If you're not ready for the scope of appointment, you don't have to do it at this time. You can continue to just run a quote of plans if you wanted to see what's available in their area. So I will continue to scope of appointment. The scope of appointment, you can play around with the system as well. You can put in a test account on your own account. You can send yourself a scope of appointment if you wanted to see what the client would see on their end. There's no harm in doing that. So you have the option to email the scope of appointment to your client, or you can text it to them as well. When they receive it, it's a link that they would click into and complete. You as the agent would receive an email once they have signed off and officially done their side of the scope of appointment. When you get that email, you'll want to go back into the Medicare App system, search their profile to pull it up, and then right here you're going to see where you have a scope of appointment to finish off. And there will be a button for you to click to complete. So just know that there's two parts. You send it to the client, they finish it, you'll get an email, and you have to go back and finish it, the agent portion of it. Once this is done, and again, I wanted to show you this as well before I move on. There's an upload button. So you do not have to do a scope of appointment through the system in order to do an application. You could have taken a paper scope of appointment, and if you wanted the system to house your paper scope of appointment, you can just click upload and download a PDF or upload a PDF document to the system, and it'll house it here for you. So I will continue to plan so you can see what a multi-carrier quote would look like in the system. You have different options on the top to choose when you're looking for plans. Some agents miss this when they're trying to find maybe an MA only. They're thinking it's in this first tab, which it defaults to. So just know that the first tab will be the Medicare Advantage with prescription drug. The second tab would be the Medicare Advantage plans only with no drug coverage. And then you've got your standalone drug plans here. You are going to see right off the bat the carriers that you are ready to sell for. So if there is a carrier here that you have not certified for or contracted for, but you want to still be able to quote it, you definitely can. On the very top underneath the zip code, you can add non-licensed plans, and it will put those other carriers in here for you to be able to quote. You are able to only go back to the plans that you are licensed in, and there's some filter options that I want to highlight over here. The Insulin Savings Program has been a huge one when that was added, so we added this filter for plans that are going to be a part of that program. If you want special needs plans, those dual special need plans, you would click that to have those start to show up. You can hide it again if you aren't looking for a dual plan. Now, what's going to drive this quote, I'll show you how to add the preferences, because that's what's going to drive the quote for your medications and your providers. And I want to show you then, once I add those, how it looks on the quote. You don't have to do any of these items, but it's highly recommended for your profile so it can quote properly. What type of coverage. I'm going to do medical and prescription drug. This is this area where you're going to tell the system whether they have Medicaid, if they have partial low-income subsidy, or if they have nothing. You can also put that in as well. So I'm going to put that I applied and got full help through Social Security. The health, you don't have to put anything for the health. I usually skip over that when I'm running a quote because it's not pertinent. What happens is when you are running a quote, you're going to see some dollar amounts there on hypothetical health services that they will receive that can get kind of confusing. So when you see that, you can usually disregard it because it's not going to help you with running your quote or doing your application for the client. The provider search, I will show, it's really simple. All you can have to do is start searching for a doctor. You can either search for a doctor or it'll come up with recommendations for the area that you are in. You can add up to 10 in this system. So 10 providers can be added into this system at the moment. So I will just add a few to show you on the quote for the next screen. So when you scroll down to make sure that they were saved, you just scroll down a little bit, and here are the providers that I chose. So I'm just going to set Mary Beth Smith as my primary care provider. You can either hit continue to get to the next part, or you can just go right up here and hit prescriptions. It's whichever you prefer, that information will be saved. So I'll just hit continue to get to the prescription area so I can show you. Again, it's the same concept. You can start typing the name and it'll come in. It'll show you maybe what the most common usage is for it. So you can click on that and hit add. I'll do another one. There we go. Again, I'll just keep it at the general. You can, change this around depending on what their prescription is. Hit add. This is also the area where you can connect to the blue button is what it's called. You can connect to their MyMedicare.gov by putting in their email address. They will receive an email acknowledging that they agree to give you access to their medications. That would be showing in MyMedicare.gov. I believe over the last 18 months is what it looks like, or looks at to run that. And then I'm going to hit continue so I can add my pharmacy because I want to make sure I have as much information in here to run the quote to set up my profile. So I'll just add, you can add up to 3. So I will do CVS, Walgreens, and then I'll just pick, there we go. And again, just like the providers, if you scroll down, they're right here that you can confirm that they were added. Next, I'm going to go to plans. I'll show you this before I go to the plans. Other preferences you can add if you're looking for a Part B buyback or give back on that. If you want dental, vision, hearing, just kind of what the important benefits are that they're looking for. So you can always add that there if you know specifically what your client's looking for. So now that I have my profile created and I've put in all my preferences, I'll go over to the plans and show you what that looks like when the doctors are or are not in network, same as medications. So here you go. Here's just an idea of what that quote looks like. None of my providers I chose seem to be in any of the plans, which, that's all right. If they were in plan, they'd have a green check mark next to it instead of these X's, just like the medications here. Over here on the left side is where you can toggle between the different pharmacies that you did select or mail order. If you have a plan of preference, you can go and click into plan details, and it will break down the medications that you had put in, and it also show you more or less what would be on a summary of benefit for this plan. So the deductibles, doctor visits, things like that. You can scroll down to the very bottom and it'll tell you what pharmacy that, if they're preferred cost sharing or standard cost sharing. And then I also want to show here that if you are looking for PDFs of the summary benefits or evidence of coverages, a lot of the carriers have provided that here. You can click into these. These are clickable to download PDFs. Again, it'll also show the providers if they were in network or out of network and if your medications are covered. So this would be the main bulk of the plan detail. But if you needed the breakdown, you can go into the prescriptions and it'll show you what tier that they would be. So the preferred generic on these two would be tier 1. Generic tier 2, 3, 4, and 5 would be these tiers. It tells you the retail cost, the amount before gap, during gap, and after the gap. And if you wanted to go even deeper into this cost for what it would be monthly, you can then go to total cost on the top. You can, this health cost is what I was mentioning earlier, where it's going to factor in hypothetical cost based on if you had put that they're relatively healthy or not healthy on that line graph. So you can disregard that since, again, it's hypothetical. But the premium and drug costs here are going to do a nice rundown for you to tell you what they will pay monthly. So these are tier 1. They would pay 0 with this AARP Medicare Advantage Choice Plan 1. Once you have determined what plan that you're going to enroll them in, or if you're not quite sure, there are 2 options that you can choose. You can either add to the cart if you're ready to enroll them, or you can start comparing the product. So to compare it on Medicare App, there's this little box on the top right on all of the options. So you can click that. You can compare up to 3. So I'm going to do that, and then you just hit the word compare now to see them side by side. If you wanted to take a print off of this to give to your client, you can do that as well. It gets a little clunky if you try to do a print screen and then try to do it. So on Medicare App, what you're able to do is you can scroll down to the very bottom of any page, and there's this print button here, and it'll lay it out a little better for you to hand this to the client if you wanted to do so that way. If you are good with how this looks, you can also send them the quote. So you can email or text your client this quote as well, this comparison. Email or text is going to work very similar to the scope of appointment, where they get a link that they click into. They're going to get 2 emails, one with the link to click into and a second email with the code that they need to put in order to view the comparison that you sent them. I will show you what it looks like on the next screen. When you know what plan you want to sell, you just hit add to cart, and it will add it to this profile. And gives you 2 options to choose. So make sure you have the right plan up here. And then these 2 options right here, send a beneficiary to sign and submit, would be if you wanted to text or if you wanted to email the enrollment. Complete and submit the form myself would be a situation where you are sitting next to them, where they can complete the enrollment themselves. When I had shown you how to submit the quote, when the client gets that link as well, that's a second option. So instead of you doing the enrollment for them, they can also shop for themselves. So they can choose one of the plans out of the quote that you sent them, and they can enroll through that link themselves without you having to be involved in that process. You would still be agent of record because all of this is being handled through your specific login generated with your national producer number. There's also something I wanted to show as another option to enroll with this system is a personal URL, a PURL. So some agents have used this PURL to put on their websites if they wanted to direct traffic to their website to do their own shopping for enrollment. What you would do is you would go to your name on the top right, click Account Overview, and it's going to be a link that can be copied and pasted. There's also an option for you to be able to add your picture too. So here's the copy link. Once you hit copy, then you can yourself, if you developed your own website or if you have a developer, you can give them this copied link to be able to add to your website. If you are not quite ready to build a profile, you just kind of want to get a look to see what plans might be in a certain area, and you have some general medications that you wanted to look at, I will show you how to do that. Instead of clicking to add a new profile, all you need to do is click plans. There's this plans on the top where you can click, throw in a zip code, and it'll run the exact same way that I showed you when you did build a profile with a client, a quote, multi-plan quote. Search feature is really easy if you're not quite sure if Mr. Smith did his application or you needed to go back to see what plan you wrote him. This would be the go-to. You can put in first name, last name. If you have that confirmation number that is always generated when an application is done, you can put that here. If you wanted to get an idea, you don't necessarily have one person you're looking for, but you want to get an idea of what applications were done in a period of time, you can do an application start date and end date to get a bigger picture. because if you are on your dashboard to run a report, it's only going to go back for 7 days. So this dashboard reports 7 days. If you want more than that, run a search for beneficiaries and put application start date and end date. Where I wanted to show you in this system, because I had mentioned earlier, every system has their own area for training. The Medicare app is in the dashboard. So agent training materials is where you would go to. They have some videos on adding preferences. So all of the things that I kind of briefly went over, they do have some videos on that you can go back to. And these documents are PDF documents. They'll go into the health risk assessments and how you can do those in the system. That was another feature that was added this AEP, is they worked with carriers to get some approvals on completing those health risk assessments through this system. With Medicare app, you do need to be face-to-face with them. You can't text or email the application if you wanted to do the HRA. You have to do face-to-face on that, or click the I'm filling the form out myself. Down at the very bottom, this is probably the last thing on this system that I'll show for now, and then I can kind of briefly go over Medicare Link, is there's a backward search as well. You don't need to do a whole full plan search, multi-carrier quote. You can go to this provider, drug, and pharmacy finder if you just wanted to get a quick answer on if a pharmacy, doctor, or medication are in the network. So I will just show you quickly. I'll put in my zip code and give you an idea of what that looks like. So I'm interested in this WellCare Dual Liberty. I want to see if my pharmacy is going to be preferred cost share or if it's even a network. So here you can see I don't need to search because all of them are showing up right here. So Hy-Vee would be standard in network, Walmart standard as well. So prescription, I'll show you that quick, and I'll just stick with the same plan to save time. See if my drug's covered, and it'll show you, yep, it certainly is covered. Select care drug is the tier that it would be under. And then providers, I'll show you that too quick. Same concept as what it looks like when you're running a multi-carrier quote. This will just give you a quick answer for finding that information. If we go back to Medicare Center, again, this is the main landing page. Medicare Link is the other system that I will show, and you'll see how greatly these two systems differ because they look completely different, but the quoting and enrollment, Sendoscope, you can still do all the same things. So I had created a profile already that I'm just going to go and click into, view the contacts. So you can edit it. I'll show a quote. So when you're creating a profile, these are all the questions that it's going to ask you. So it's going to ask you what plan you're looking for, what medications. I already added one of the medications, and I used CVS as my pharmacy. You can also filter priorities on what kind of coverage they're looking for. My doctor, I already added a Dr. Smith in here, but it's the same concept as the Medicare app, is that you can just add a new doctor, choose one. I will do, see if he shows up. There he is. Add doctor, save. So now I added another doctor to this, the search. I'll say, yes, I receive extra help, and this is where you can choose what their copays look like. I'll choose that, and view all plans. So here, there's a few different ways that you can look at the plans with Medicare Link. I like this filter option on the left side because you can just click it and it'll show you what plan has the give back. Or if I want dental, it'll automatically filter it for any plan that will have dental. It'll start off immediately by telling you if your doctors are a network. What else I like about this is that if you are not sure what preferred pharmacies are, there's an option where you can click preferred pharmacies, and those will show up here, as well as doctors in the area that are accepting new patients. The benefits over here on the tab on the top are going to run down and tell you what drugs. So this cost screen is going to give you the total estimated cost without much detail as far as what medications are or are not covered. So if you go over into benefits, that's where you'll see how many of my drugs may or may not be covered, and if the plan is dental, vision, hearing. There's also another view that you can choose by X-ray if you wanted to see easy access to that summary of benefit detail, the benefits, deductibles, things like that. And again, it does go into benefits and drug detail, drug cost detail, similar to what Medicare App does. But again, you can see how different they look. So I highly recommend you go in here and play around with it yourself. You can create test profiles, but your site is a live website, so you want to make sure you don't submit an application because that is going straight to the carrier if you're just playing with the site to test it out. The send a scope through this system, I wanted to show the little bit of a difference between this and Medicare App is that you can complete the scope right with the client next to you. Medicare App, you do have to text or email the client for signature. So if they're sitting right next to you, you still have to do that. Whereas in Medicare Link, you can complete it right them sitting next to you because they can just use a mouse to sign here. The other system, I won't go too much into the CSG app. We have a lot of different webinars that are being held on CSG and the different features that are in there because I could go over so much with these systems, it could take hours. So we can always share those with you. If you wanted to call us up, we can send you the CSG app and webinars that are held. So then the last thing I wanted to show with the CRM system that we had added is this is where you can also add clients and import. So if you have clients that are on an Excel document or anything like that and you wanted to put them in the system to use our CRM, you can definitely do that. Here's the template here that you can download, and then once it's in this system, a huge feature that we added this last AEP was the ability to use the enrollment through the CRM. So I created another profile for myself already, and I just will show you once it's created, you can view plans here. This is where you can quote, but I want to show you where you can add doctors and where you can add prescriptions. So in the profile, when you click into it, you just got to go to details. You can add a provider here, and it's just a same search. You can start typing it in, and it'll search for you. I'll add the provider. And same with my prescription. Okay, there we go. You can also set the stage before you do anything with it. You can say if they're new, contacted, if you sent a scope, if they signed a scope, quoted, applied, enrolled, or if the sale was lost. Scope of appointment can be done through the CRM system now as well. Same, you can send it to them, whether it's an email, text. I'm going to go and show you how this quote looks as well in this system. Again, it is complete preference, so we're giving you all of the options that you can choose, and you pick one that fits you best with ease, with how it looks when you quote, what's easier to find the data that you're looking for. At this time, if anyone had any questions, I can definitely help answer those.
Sarah, it appears that you have overwhelmed your audience with your eloquence. Here we go. You have a question that just popped up. Give me a moment. I think it's going to be something that might show on your screen, or I'll pull the piece back here. Oh, I think that's good. Awesome. So I think we're okay. We have a question or two toward the end of the presentation. So we'll go from there with it. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Different engines that we described, that you described so nicely, are powered by Connexure, Sunfire, CSG, and some folks may have utilized one of those systems or another in the past. So it gives us then the opportunity to include in this free system access to 3 of the premier quoting tools in our industry today. I think it's awesome. Thank you. Well, we've got a couple questions here. Bear with me a moment. Here we go. One question: will Medicare App, Medicare Link, and the contacts in each ever sync with each other? Is that one of the enhancements that is planned, or will that happen?
Yes, so that is something that we have brought up to them for being able to communicate with each other. That is the end goal. That the goal is to have systems that do communicate with each other, as the question is asked. At this time, they don't. So it is definitely a want, and they know that it is a want. So hopefully, at some point down the future, it is on their to-do to figure out how to do that.
Awesome. I understand there are enhancements planned for the overall system, but that's something we'll ask everybody to say, hey, watch out for this, because more good things coming in an already incredible system. Another question: how long does the client have until they can no longer enroll with one of the links in the system?
So both systems are a little different in that with Medicare App, those links don't expire. So they could really go back to a link as long as they have that link and that code that was sent to them, 3 months ago or whatnot, and that would still be a valid link that can be used. With Medicare Link, they do have a time limit on that. I'm going to have to go back and double check, and we can get back to you on that time limit. I want to say it was like 7 days when those links expired on Medicare Link.
Awesome. Another question that popped up: is there a preference for a MedSup quote between MedLink and CSG platforms? I think
Most
that's the one
agents,
where
so
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
the Medicare supplements would be through the CSG app. That would be the preference on running those Medicare supplement quotes.
Awesome. That CSG system has some wonderful things with heat maps and all the other extra programs that Sarah alluded to a bit earlier. We will, as part of the follow-up, send a couple of links, one to the trainings that CSG does. We've got some planned on our own as well, but also give you some additional material on, there's a really cool cross-selling system within that, and we'll send a link to that as well. So you're going to get a lot of stuff as part of the follow-up. And Sarah, I believe those are the questions that you didn't cover or were specific interest. You covered everything very well. Thank you. But it gives us then what we need to lay a nice overlay as to how people can access the system and how they can use it. So one of the things we'll do now, if you don't mind, is I'm going to pull control back and finish up with just a few slides. If you would, hang with me till the end so we can see if other questions come up there too. So bear with me. So some of the reasons why you would want to make use of this system through our organization with Premier Marketing deals not just with the system, but with some of the extras you get by working with and through us. And I will see, we have a question that popped really quickly here that, well, it's basically kudos to you, Sarah. Thank you. One of the things that you can do, because there are so many products that you can access through this system, is we want to make certain that the carrier support and, importantly, contracting is there for you to utilize through the system. So with a lot of the Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, we'll send you contracting links or information directly about that carrier. But with a lot of the ancillary products, sometimes it's quicker to do an overall, set up a profile, insurance bay, and contract electronically with these carriers through that. It's a great way to store your information, your errors and omissions, answer some of the questions that are common to the applications for contracting with the different carriers. A great way for you to do some things electronically. You've probably noted that everybody is asking you to do your apps electronically, a whole bunch of other things that come into play with doing things as quickly and efficiently as possible. This is an extension of that into the contracting process. You also have the opportunity to get E&O coverage from an organization affiliated with us. It's available for qualified agents. What makes you a qualified agent? Well, you have a contract with us. But this is a program you own. It's not being added to a blanket E&O for one carrier or another. This takes care of that errors and admissions necessity that you have with insurance companies, and it's yours. You own it and covers you regardless of whom you contract through and for whatever carrier. We also offer discounted continuing education packages through our affiliation with WebCE. It's a great way to make certain your license stays in play. And you do have an opportunity to purchase modified guarantee issue disability income insurance for yourself and be paid a commission on it through our affiliation with this disability organization. Much as for today's presentation is being recorded and is available for you 24/7 on our website and our YouTube channel, there are past presentations in there for product, marketing, and initiatives, things of that nature that you can access 24/7 to help you get in front of people to use systems such as what Sarah discussed today. I cannot over expound upon the joys of Medicare Center, if you want to put it that way, poorly put, but a free system available to contracted agents with all of the detail that Sarah went through so very nicely today. It's a great tool for you to use, can make you so much more efficient, compliant, and do some different things to maintain contact with your prospects and clients as well. This is an illustration of how some of that works within the CSG component, where you have that cross-selling system. Watch for the link that will come as part of the follow-up to today's presentation that will take you to a demonstration of that tool. We have a number of past presentations done in conjunction with CSG, as Sarah mentioned, some additional ones scheduled, and then CSG has a full library of trainings as well. Some programs allow for additional incentives. Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, the max comp is set by the government, so they don't come into play in this area. But MedSups and ancillary programs that are part of the Medicare Center, well, we want to make certain that you're aware of all the incentives that those carriers offer and that you are getting all the compensation that you are entitled to, because they may help you qualify for carrier trips and incentive programs from Premier as well, all on a page from our website. We have various lead programs also to put you in front of folks. There are contact lists custom made for you available through our organization at low or no cost, depending upon your contracting arrangement. We have the different programs that can put you in touch with retail, faith-based opportunities, provider marketing, where an electronic tool like Medicare Center can make you utilize that tool or that time spent so efficiently. And we want to make certain that you realize we have different systems in place that can help you address these selling opportunities as well. Different carriers will offer prospects upon occasion. You see that a lot with Medicare Advantage and PDP companies that you've worked with in the past. It's a symbiotic relationship. Those are available to you. That's why it's so important to have a good relationship with your agent success manager within Premier and are aligning your needs with the carrier support in a particular market. Great way to get out and market specific carrier information. We do have internet leads and direct mail support, a really cool T65 locator. And then another link that you will receive is to a program we have for referrals to maximize the value of a singular lead and make it go forth and multiply for you. Those mail house leads are through particular vendors, but they're production based. They drive down the cost of that mail so you can do it consistently. So it becomes like your exercise program. If you do it just once in a while, well, you're going to have some pain. You won't see a lot of results. If we do it consistently, well, we've got a program set up for the health programs and for final expense. So you can qualify for 2,000 pieces of mail at reduced prices based on your production. As I mentioned, it's through particular vendors. We vet these folks to make certain that their systems are in play and the correspondence they send out on your behalf is held compliant. So some different things that can be really helpful for you. Because a direct mail campaign is not a microwave lead like we see in some other areas, it does give you the opportunity to make certain that you receive the responses from whatever mail house you use as quickly as possible, because they got really cool CRM systems to notify you and manage those leads. We do also offer direct mail response leads, untouched. The cost of these leads will vary by market, time period to time period, but they're a great way for you to fill in holes in your calendar or work these in as a supplemental program without a huge out-of-pocket expenditure up front. The internet leads are based on Facebook programs. We have one set up for Final Expense and for Medicare. You'll find that in the Medicare arena, much of these are outreach for MedSup. So we can do some things on a compliant basis and make certain that we take care of folks that way. More details are available for you upon your request. At T65 Locator, it's a program you download to your smartphone, register for, they verify that you have a contract with us. It's available free as well, without cost to you, and really will map out individuals turning 65 in a particular geographic area that you designate. Really cool way for folks that like to go out and door knock for programs that you can do that with. Obviously, can't do that with MA and PDP programs, but you can for Final Expense, different types of life insurance programs, dental programs. Great way to establish your presence in a particular community. I mentioned that referral process is really helpful for you during their prospecting and selling experience, but it's also a great way for you to go back and engage your current book of business housed in Medicare Center in that CRM program and mine that community for additional leads as well. I say all this and do so quickly because we're almost at the top of the hour, but these systems are put in play because we want your business. We want to work with you. We want to be referable for you to us for other agents. And so we're asking for that as well. We appreciate the business that we have with you. We want to expand upon that. So making use of this system, it's an integral part of your personal marketing plan. And it's something that you can do very, very quickly. So to quote John Wayne from the movie The Cowboys, slap a piece of bacon in that biscuit, saddle up, let's ride, because, hey, we're burning daylight. You don't have to worry about, gee, I can do this in 2 months and get it going. You can do it now. And your agent success manager that you work with through Premier can help make certain that we're utilizing the systems to its full capability and it becomes the asset to you that we feel that it is. So you can reach out to us at 1-800-365-8208 and get additional details. You're working with a agent success manager now, that person will help you with these systems. If you're looking at us from behind the glass window, so to speak, and you want to do business with us, we'll make certain that you're set up with a person that can help you through this system and many of the other support programs that we have in play for you. You can also reach us at our website, premiersmi.com, or respond to the outreach that we're going to send as part of the follow-up to today's presentation. All that said and done, we're at the top of the hour, checking for unanswered questions. Sarah, I think we're good there. We're set up well. I want to thank you folks for coming on and spending your most valuable asset with us, your time. But for those of you that have done business with us in the past, we thank you for that. For those of you that are considering doing business with us in the future, we welcome that opportunity as well. All said and done, until we're able to visit in the near future, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much. Thank you, Sarah, for your expertise. And here we go. We look forward to chatting with you all in the near future. Thanks so much.